Sometimes people only realize your value after you're no longer standing beside them. And by the time that realization finally reaches their heart, you're already gone. Maybe you know what that feels like. To give someone your patience, your loyalty, your quiet understanding when things weren't easy. You stayed when things were confusing. You cared when they didn't fully notice. You offered a kind of love that asked for very little in return. But somehow they treated it like it would always be there. Like your presence was permanent. Like your kindness had no limit. Like the way you showed up for them was simply normal. Until one day something changed. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet moment where you realized that the effort was only coming from one side. And slowly, the person who once tried so hard to keep the connection alive began to step back. Maybe that person was you, because there comes a moment when even the most patient heart grows tired of waiting to be valued. And when that moment arrives, something inside you begins to shift. You stop explaining your worth. You stop trying to prove how much you care. You stop holding on to someone who never truly understood what they had. And that's usually the moment everything changes, because once you walk away with quiet dignity, once your presence is no longer there to comfort them, that's when the realization begins to appear in their mind, the realization they never expected to face. The realization that the person who once gave them everything is no longer there, and sometimes that understanding arrives far too late. 1. The moment your absence becomes real. The first thing that happens when someone realizes your value too late is a moment they never expected to feel. The moment your absence finally becomes real. At first, they don't notice it. Life keeps moving the same way it always did. Their routine continues. Conversations with others fill the empty spaces. Distractions make everything seem normal, because when someone has been part of your life for a long time, your presence feels automatic. Like the sun rising every morning, they assume you'll still be there to listen. They assume you'll still care the same way you always did. They assume the connection will simply continue, no matter how little attention they give it. So when you slowly step back, they don't immediately understand what's happening. Maybe they think you're just busy. Maybe they assume you'll come back around like before. But days pass, then more time passes. And something small begins to feel different. Your messages stop appearing. Your voice isn't part of their everyday moments anymore. The quiet support they once relied on slowly disappears. At first it feels strange, then it becomes noticeable, because suddenly the person who used to bring warmth into their life isn't there the way they once were. The conversations become shorter. The laughter they shared with you is missing. Even simple moments start feeling slightly empty, and that's when the realization begins to whisper in their mind. Not loudly, just a quiet thought they can't easily ignore. Things don't feel the same anymore. They start remembering how you used to show up for them, how you listened when no one else really understood, how you stayed patient even when things became complicated, how your presence made life feel a little lighter without them even realizing it. But now those small things are gone. And for the first time, they begin to understand something they overlooked for a long time. Some people don't realize the value of a person while they're standing right in front of them. They realize it when that presence slowly fades from their world. When the person who once gave their heart freely finally chooses peace instead. And that's when the first feeling begins to grow inside them. The feeling that maybe they didn't appreciate you the way they should have. 2. When memories start speaking louder than silence. And then something unexpected begins to happen. The memories they once ignored start coming back to them. At first, it happens in small moments, nothing dramatic, just a quiet reminder that appears when they least expect it. Maybe they hear a song that reminds them of a conversation you once had. Maybe they visit a place where the two of you shared a simple moment, and suddenly your absence feels louder than before. Because memories have a strange way of returning when a person is no longer around. Things they once took for granted begin to replay in their mind. The way you used to check on them when they were having a bad day. The patience you showed during moments when they were difficult to understand. The small efforts you made that they barely noticed at the time. Back then, those things seemed ordinary. Now they start to feel rare. They begin to realize that not everyone offers that kind of care. Not everyone listens the way you did. Not everyone stays when things become complicated. Not everyone gives their energy without constantly asking for something in return. And slowly, a quiet question begins forming inside their thoughts. Why didn't I see this before? Because when someone realizes your value too late, they start looking at the past differently. Moments that once seemed normal suddenly appear meaningful. Your kindness begins to stand out in ways it never did while you were still there. They remember the times you supported them, even when they weren't giving the same effort back. They remember how easily you forgave small mistakes. They remember the warmth you brought into their life without asking to be praised for it. And that's when the truth slowly begins to settle into their heart. What they lost wasn't something ordinary. It was someone who genuinely cared, someone who showed up, someone who tried to build something real. But now those memories exist in a different way, not as moments they are still living, but as pieces of a connection they can no longer return to so easily. And the more those memories return, the clearer one realization becomes. Sometimes we only understand the true value of a person after their presence is no longer part of our everyday life. 3. When regret quietly begins to appear. And this is the moment most people never talk about. The moment when appreciation slowly turns into regret, because memories alone are one thing, but when those memories start showing them the truth about how they treated you, something deeper begins to happen inside them. They start noticing things they once ignored, the effort you put into the connection, the patience you showed during difficult moments, the way you tried to hold things together even when they were slowly pulling away. Back then, they didn't fully understand what you were giving. They thought your kindness was just part of your personality. They thought your loyalty would always be there. They believed that no matter how distracted they became, the connection would somehow continue. But now that you're no longer standing beside them, those assumptions begin to fall apart. Because life has a quiet way of revealing the value of people through their absence, and that's when regret begins to grow. Not loudly. Regret rarely arrives like a dramatic storm. It shows up quietly, in late-night thoughts and unexpected moments of reflection. They begin replaying conversations in their mind, moments when you were trying to express something important and they brushed it off. Times when you needed understanding, but they chose distance instead. Situations where you were giving your best, while they were giving only half of their attention, and the more they think about it, the clearer something becomes. You weren't asking for too much, you were simply asking to be valued. That realization can feel heavy, because once someone understands that they lost a good person through their own lack of appreciation, there's no easy way to erase that truth. They may start wishing they had responded differently, wishing they had listened more carefully, wishing they had shown the same level of effort you were giving. But by the time those thoughts begin to appear, the connection has already changed. The person who once tried so hard to stay in their life has already begun walking in a new direction, and regret has a painful habit of arriving at exactly that moment. The moment when the chance to do things differently may already be slipping away. 4. When they finally think about reaching out. And sooner or later, a thought begins to appear in their mind, the thought they avoided for a long time. What if I try to reach out? Because once regret starts growing, it rarely stays quiet forever. At first, they simply observe your life from a distance. They notice how you seem calmer now, how your energy looks different, how you're moving forward without the constant effort you once gave to the connection. And that realization can feel surprising, because in their mind, they always assumed you would still be there somehow. They believed the door between you would always remain slightly open, but now things feel different. You're not chasing their attention anymore. You're not explaining your feelings over and over again. You're not trying to fix something that once felt one-sided. And suddenly, they begin to understand something they never truly considered before. You didn't leave because you stopped caring. You left because you finally started respecting your own peace. That understanding changes the way they see everything. For the first time, they start asking themselves difficult questions. What if I had appreciated them earlier? What if I had given the same effort they were giving? And slowly, another thought begins to appear. Maybe I should talk to them. Maybe they think about sending a message. Maybe they consider calling you just to hear your voice again. But even that step feels complicated now, because reaching out means facing the reality of what they lost. They don't know how you will respond. Maybe you've already moved on emotionally. Maybe you've found a new sense of peace that doesn't include them anymore. And that uncertainty makes the situation fragile. Because when someone realizes your value too late, they're no longer standing in the same place they once were. The person they once had easy access to is now someone they must approach with humility, someone whose life may have already grown beyond the connection they once overlooked. And that's the moment when everything begins to change. Because sometimes people try to come back after realizing your worth, but by then, the person they lost has already become stronger, wiser, and far less willing to accept less than they deserve. 5. When the realization comes too late. And this is the truth many people learn only after it's too late. Some people only recognize your value when they finally feel your absence. When you were there, everything felt normal to them. Your kindness felt ordinary. Your patience felt expected. Your loyalty felt like something that would simply always exist. They didn't realize that what you were giving was rare, because people often overlook the quiet kind of love, the love that stays during difficult moments, the love that forgives small mistakes, the love that keeps trying even when things feel one-sided. While you were standing beside them, they assumed you would always be there. But one day, something inside you changed, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally understood something important. Your heart deserved to be valued too. So you stopped chasing the same connection that once required all your effort. You stepped back. You chose peace instead of constant disappointment. And that's when the person who once overlooked your worth began to understand what they lost, because your absence created a silence they weren't prepared for. The messages that used to appear disappeared. The emotional support they relied on was no longer there. The warmth you quietly brought into their life slowly faded away. And that's when the realization arrived. The realization that the person who once gave them genuine care was no longer standing beside them. But by the time some people understand that truth, the story has already changed. Because when someone spends too long learning your value, they often discover it at the exact moment you've learned your own. And once you understand your worth, something powerful happens. You stop accepting half-hearted effort. You stop explaining why you deserve respect. You stop holding on to people who never truly appreciated the role you played in their life. Instead, you move forward with a quiet kind of strength, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything anymore. And sometimes that's the most painful lesson a person can face. Realizing that they lost someone who genuinely cared. simply because they didn't recognize that value while they had the chance. So if you've ever walked away from a situation where you felt unseen or unappreciated, remember this. The right people will never need to lose you to understand your worth. They will recognize it while you are still standing beside them. And if this message reminded you of a moment in your own life, take it as a quiet reminder of something important. Your value was never meant to be discovered too late. It was meant to be respected from the very beginning. And if this story spoke to your heart, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need this message today.